Hello, welcome back everybody. I'm so glad you're here. I am going to be wood burning with Moss Tangle tonight. Crystal, I'm very excited. I'm going to wait for her to join us just a little bit. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Hi, May. Good to see you.
Hi.
Hi,
Whoa, my face
Crystal.
is way too close. Hi.
Good to
You
see you.
too.
How
How
are
fun
you?
is this, huh?
Yeah, super
Yes,
fun.
fellow nurse Pyro. That's true. Yep. All right.
That's awesome. Well, welcome.
Yeah.
So, first of all, real quick, for those of you who are new here, I'm Janny Lisenby. I am the artist behind Red Roof Barn, and I've got the Burn Savvy website. If you're new, go check that out. And then Crystal down here, I love this girl. She and I talk about our work stuff.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm Crystal Bailar, and I'm actually the artist and the chief cook and bottle washer for Moss Tangle Arts. So I pretty much do everything. And but I'm a nurse on the side. I work part-time as a nurse. So this is my wood burning's my side gig and my stress reliever. So this is pretty excited about this. Mhm.
That's awesome. Wow. I'll bet that's been hard, actually, during this time. A little bit scary to be a nurse.
It's not too bad. I work in a clinic, in a walk-in clinic, so it's not too bad. I mean, it's not a hospital and not
Oh,
ICU, so I really feel for those ICU nurses. So,
for sure. Well, I'm so glad you get to burn
me
with me
too. I'm
tonight.
so
I'm so
excited.
excited.
Okay.
So, had somebody ask what kind of shading we're doing tonight, and I was thinking about doing more
Okay.
realism. What do you want to do?
Well, I probably will add, I'm going to add shading for sure because my design is just your basic outline and some
Right.
realistic shading, but I really like my stuff to have a lot more texture. So I tend to put texture in like the mountain shades that isn't really real. So yeah,
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 that
yeah,
style. Love it.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited to see it. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn mine
Okay, me
around,
too.
and then uh, let's get
Okay.
burning. Oh, I got to turn on another light here. There we go.
We'll get it figured out.
That's right. Oh,
That was funny. I accidentally shut off my phone. I was doing
oh
that.
no.
Okay, we'll get there. Just a second. Ugh, there
Yeah,
it is. Okay, and I don't want to
you
be
are good.
sideways, so I see what's going on. I'm going to move my camera a little bit.
I always
There we go.
So those of you who are new, Crystal also does workshops like I do, but she does it in, okay, is it Snohomish, Snohomish? How do you
It's
say it?
Snohomish, Washington. Yes, I do them in,
Snohomish.
yeah,
Okay,
I do them in Snohomish and not in my local, just some local towns, usually at coffee shops or stuff. So
awesome.
it's pretty fun. Unfortunately, not doing that now.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, that's gotta
Yeah.
wait.
So,
That's gotta wait. I know that my local art studio is opening up again, so they might be doing workshops soon, but I'm not doing them right now either.
mm,
So, and if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. Let's see if I can get this to zoom down a little so I can be seeing people's comments at the same time. And then Crystal, if you have suggestions or tips or techniques or whatever, feel free to share that so that
okay. Oh man.
we
Okay.
can all.
I'm trying to. So I have an up down.
It's a whole new
I
world.
have an up down desk, so I can zoom in and out my desk.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. So
Okay,
go ahead.
so no, I was just gonna say I usually just tape mine off and use graphite paper to trace it.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, I normally just sketch right straight on the wood. So yeah,
Oh,
so I don't normally trace my own artwork. Unless it's really Yeah, like
drawing.
lettering I do trace on but I use carbon paper, just like you're showing. So, but today I'm going to go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and trace my own work because it's what I teach everyone to do in my workshops. So,
In the workshop.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And actually, I'm totally with you. When I'm doing my own stuff, I like to sketch it out on the
Yeah.
wood personally.
Yeah. I certainly spend a lot of time sketching out ideas on paper before I
Yes.
even get to the woods. So it's not like now I do with like mountains. I'll be like, yeah, I can just draw some mountains on the wood. But there's some things I have to spend a lot of time thinking about the design.
Yes. And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ivy Pyrography, hi. 74 Shoulden. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for all you do, they
Oh,
said.
thank you. Yeah, you're
We've got,
welcome. Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the things I like to do is when I'm tracing, I use a brightly colored ballpoint pen so I can see where I've traced.
Oh, that's a good
So,
idea.
because sometimes I definitely lose track, and I had it set up so I can like lift the sheet and look and make sure, but I
Yes.
definitely lose
Yes.
track.
But I think that's really great. I think for everybody's so different. And if I'm not using the pattern again, a lot of times I'll just use a
Right.
pencil.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But then I can just see it. But I love the idea of a bright colored um, ballpoint pen. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Fun. So when you do design, do you um you said you sometimes like to draw right on the wood. Do you do that most of the time, or do you tend to make your designs and then print them out so they're the perfect size?
Oh, no, I usually print them out.
Okay.
That's that's just for um that's just for patterns.
Okay, yeah.
I know when I started out, I had no idea how to use a
Oh,
pattern.
yeah.
I remember seeing them and I was, oh, I'm so excited. And then I try to use it. I'm like, well, what the devil do I do with this? I don't know how to do this. Anyway, so now I don't bother with the patterns, but I do like to share them and make them because I think it's really valuable for
Right.
learning.
Exactly.
Let's see. 74 Shoulden. My husband just bought me my first burning set up for our anniversary. I haven't tried it yet, but
Awesome.
very excited to. Yay!
Okay, so
Welcome to the.
I'm not seeing the comment, so you'll have to let me know.
Okay, I'll shout him out, you Crystal.
For some reason, it just seems to not be refreshing. That's okay. It might in a minute.
Yeah, here's hoping. I think half the fun of this interacting with people.
Yeah, me
So,
too. So this is only the second
okay.
of these burns that I've attended. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and the first one was with Basha Fine Line Pyro, and
Oh,
yes,
yes.
that was last week, and that was just so wonderful. Oh, look, I didn't move my paper. It was just wonderful. So I really appreciate you
Good.
doing this.
Oh, well, I'm happy to. I'm glad that people wanted to do this because I felt like there were so many people who just needed the interaction you
Mm-hmm.
know, a lot of lonesome words there, a lot of sadness, and it was like, I don't do that. We gotta do something. So
Yeah,
anyway, I'm glad you could join.
it's great.
Oh yes, the comment here says, "Good husband, clearly a keeper, who bought the
Oh,
husband who bought the burning set
oh yes,
anniversary."
yes, definitely a keeper.
Okay, so yes, I am going to be using my small flat shader. These are similar to the spoon shaders. I think it is a spoon shader, but it's called a flat shader. So I think it's the same thing. What are you using?
I'm actually using a, it's it is called a spoon shader, but it's flat. So I'm going to use my flat shader because it also has a nice edge on it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'll pull it out.
what mine is. It's the flat.
Yeah, this
So
one right
I
here.
don't know if you guys can. Oh, you same thing. That's
Pretty very
awesome.
similar. Yeah, very similar. I've started using
uh,
this a lot more because it's really versatile. And I'm burning on
yeah.
poplar, and so it does really well with poplar because it's so smooth. The wood itself is pretty smooth.
Yes. Yes. Poplar's a lot like basswood. It's
Yes,
it's pretty
and
nice.
it's very light colored, so you can really see your cool stuff on it, and I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
readily available at Home Depot right now, so
That makes it an easy
yeah,
choice,
I
right?
know. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. She's saying she's going on 16 years strong.
Oh
Yay!
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Happy anniversary. Then we got another comment here. What temperature do y'all burn at? So right now I am burning at about a 4, maybe 4 1/4, somewhere in there. And I like to take my edge here and just kind of put it on the tip and touch and pull
Yeah.
towards
Yeah.
me and sweep sideways. You'll see that. That's what I'm doing. What temperature are you at, Crystal?
I am at 6. I use a razor tip. So it's about 6, and I'm probably due to clean my tip, so I'm probably needing more heat than I normally do. So
Right?
yeah.
I totally hear you on that. I do feel like my tips burn so much better when they're
Oh
clean,
yeah.
but I'm not very good at always keeping them clean.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
uh, but yeah, I'm using a cold. So go ahead.
the process of cleaning is like you have to plan ahead because it takes a little bit of time and some tools. So just have to remember to do it.
Mhm. I discovered the leather strop, but the wax stuff was always so stinky.
Oh yeah.
Have you used those
I
before?
haven't used the wax, and I don't have a leather strop. I actually use, here's what I use on the fly. It's an it's an old suede shoe brush. Okay. So if you used to
Oh,
have, if you know,
okay.
used to, this my says JB, that was my husband's. And when a long time ago, when people polished their shoes and you had um anyway, so it's like fine, really fine wire. And so then I just use it during
Yeah.
my during my burning if things start to get kind of sooty because I tend to burn dark, and I clean it, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not like the real polish clean.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. When I'm on the fly, I have a um steel wool,
Yes.
just the real
Mm-hmm.
fine stuff. And actually I keep it on a stone coaster so that I don't burn my table just in case it goes through.
Oh, that's
So
smart. That's really smart.
ah, oh, now I dusted my whole piece here. Whoops.
Yeah, I used to use steel wool,
Uh,
but and I still have some at my desk, but my husband was like, "Oh, I have something that might work for you," and he brought it out. So, and it's worked ever since.
That's real.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
he's
that.
super helpful.
I think that's great. Um, it's not that. So right now I am burning at about a 4, maybe 4 1/4, somewhere in there. And I like to take my edge here and just kind of put it on the tip and touch and pull
Yeah,
towards
yeah.
me and sweep sideways. You'll see that. That's what I'm doing. What temperature are you at, Crystal?
I am at 6. I use a razor tip, so it's about 6, and I'm probably due to clean my tip, so I'm probably needing more heat than I normally do. So,
Right?
yeah.
I totally hear you on that. I do feel like my tips burn so much better when they're
Oh,
clean,
yeah.
but I'm not very good at always keeping them clean.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
uh, but yeah, I'm using a cold. So go ahead.
the process of cleaning is like you have to plan ahead because it takes a little bit of time and some tools. So just have to remember to do it.
Mhm. I discovered the leather strop, but the wax stuff was always so stinky.
Oh, yeah.
Have you used those
I
before?
haven't used the wax, and I don't have a leather strop. I actually use, here's what I use on the fly. It's an old, it's an old suede shoe brush. Okay. So if you used to
Oh,
have, if you know, you
okay.
used to, this my says JB, that was my husband's. And when a long time ago, when people polished their shoes and you had, um, anyway, so it's like fine, really fine wire. And so then I just use it during
Yeah.
my burning if things start to get kind of sooty, because I tend to burn dark, and I clean it, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not like the real polish clean.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. When I'm on the fly, I have a um steel wool,
Yes.
just the real
Hmm.
fine stuff. And actually I keep it on a stone coaster so that I don't burn my table just in case it goes through.
Oh, that's
So
smart. That's really smart.
ah, oh, now I dusted my whole piece here. Whoops.
Yeah, I used to use steel wool,
Uh,
but and I still have some at my desk, but my husband was like, "Oh, I have something that might work for you," and he brought it out. So, and it's worked ever since.
that's real.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
he's
that.
super helpful.
I think that's great. Yeah. The leather strop though, I have found like that's actually not that um it's not that slow, I guess I should say. It's like it's faster at cleaning things than a lot of
Oh,
other
yeah. Yeah.
techniques. But it's not the wax stuff. I don't like the wax stuff. I use a powder um for cleaning. So
That's good.
it's like what do you call it? Aluminum
Oh,
oxide.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the word I was looking for.
That's your
So
mild, like your cleanser, your scrubber. Yeah.
yes, that's my detergent,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
offer stuff. But it's worked out pretty well. Let's see. Any other tips for us beginners? Oh, lots of tips. Um,
So
hmm,
start with a
gosh,
really good,
a, an
well
app
sanded piece of wood. That's like, you've probably heard it before, but
for
that's really
one.
important.
Mm-hmm. It's so much easier to burn on a smooth
Hmm.
surface. Just so easier. And I think also, I know a lot of people, not everyone does this, but a lot of people like when you pull towards you or when you swipe side to side and stuff like that, as opposed to pushing.
Yes.
Because sometimes if you don't hold it just right, it digs into the wood.
Yeah.
So there are some suggestions. Those of you who are joining us live, if you do wood burning, shout out some other beginners tips. Clean your tool because it works better. How about that? Oh, there are lots of little tips and tricks that
Yeah.
will help you. I think also using a dry piece of
Yes.
wood, not fresh, you get less sap that way.
Right.
That's helpful. I'm seeing a lot of people joining. Hello,
Hi.
everybody.
Yeah. Oh, I still just see my last comment I see is thank you for all you do. So I haven't seen anybody else
Oh,
join or seen any of the comments. If they're not loading, not sure why.
dang
I
it.
know it's okay.
Yeah, you got Miss Chatterbox over here keeping you in the
Yeah,
loop, so
it
we're good.
works. That works. Okay, I'm gonna actually shift a little bit here because my camera is too close to me.
Go for it.
There we go.
One thing I love about the mountains is they're such a forgiving
Oh
subject.
yes.
You can make mistakes and throw it in, that's part of the art piece, right?
Right. Oh yeah. And I think that's actually a really good thing for beginners. Kind of one of my biggest tips I would say for beginners is to not worry about making mistakes or what feels like a mistake.
Yes.
A lot of times you can incorporate what you've done into your burn. You just have to be flexible.
Mhm.
So I guess that would be the
Right.
tip is just be flexible, you know, and be willing to change what you
Hmm.
have and be okay with throwing some things away. If you really hate them, it's okay, you know.
Right. Well, actually, the piece I'm burning on right now, I sanded off something
Yeah.
else
Oh, yeah. I do that all
because
the time.
yep, yep. So if you don't like a piece, it's okay. We give you permission to just sand that sucker off and use it
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
That's okay. I totally agree, where I feel like one of the biggest things to overcome when you're a beginner is your fear.
Right.
And I just think you need to not be afraid. Don't make the mistakes. That's how you learn,
Right.
right? And try the new things. Otherwise, you're never gonna figure
Yeah.
it out. So
Well, and yeah, and just, choose things choose patterns that are relatively simple and natural forms are really nice because they are so forgiving, mountains, trees, even flowers and leaves and
yes,
stuff. So, Jenny, you're burning so
nature,
fast.
nature. I told. Oh,
I'm like, I can't do this and talk at the same time.
talk. Maybe it's because I grew up and a talker. I've always been a talker. I don't think you could shut my talker if you wanted to. So
Your talker doesn't have an off
maybe that's
switch.
part of it. It doesn't. Sometimes it has like a volume, but it doesn't have an off.
That's funny.
Oh, okay, we've got some questions here. I'm going to
Okay.
read them out
Okay,
to you.
cool.
One, I'm getting pain in my thumb. What do you recommend for the pain? I haven't done
Um,
so much art. So I think for that, first of all, as long as you don't have some other kind of chronic thing like arthritis or something you have to tend to, then I would recommend taking a break when you start to hurt, and then doing finger exercises that help stretch it and help to calm that
right.
down.
Yep.
What about you? Do you have
Uh,
that? What's the
yeah,
difference?
taking lots of breaks, not trying to do too much at once. I usually set a timer and I make myself stop, even though I really want to keep going and I'm
Yeah, that's
inspired, but I do make myself stop and that helps a lot. And then the stretching is very good.
mm-hmm. I agree. Setting a timer is that's like the only reason I stop is if I
Right.
set a
Yeah.
timer.
I
So
totally lose track of time.
yes. So real quick before I get to the next question, just when I'm burning the trees, I like to put in a little baseline
Yes.
of the trunk.
Yep.
Is that
It's
what you do?
exactly what I do. I'll just put in like a, just like that. I'll just draw like a just a thin line just to get started because you're going to burn over it. And it's just enough to,
Right.
it gives you like a, something that just a framework to go off of. So yeah, like I just did that on my trees.
The few times that I haven't done that, my trees have ended up going like the wrong direction, and I thought, oh well, I guess the wind blew while they grew. Sorry guys,
Well,
like
you know, how many
my
trees are really exactly straight up and down anyway? I mean,
that's
you know, our
true.
minds, our
That's
human mind wants to fill in the gaps, and we often just we want them to be straight, but in our as we make them, but if you make them and they're not straight, that's actually looks more right, more natural.
yes, it's true. When I'm trying to do realism,
Yes.
one of the hardest things that I have to fight is like trying to correct the imperfections. Don't do
Yeah.
that. So, okay, let's see. Our next question. Oh, that's in another language. Uh, oh, Mexico. Excelente. Okay. I don't know what that says, but welcome from Mexico. Saludos desde Saltillo. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, hello.
I think
Let's
that's
see
what they were
here.
saying. So
Oh,
I can't see it, so I
good.
don't even know. You know, I can read a little bit, but not much.
Right, right. I can read it, but I don't know what I'm
Right.
saying. I took seventh grade Spanish, so.
Yeah.
Um, Burned Essentials has a whole pile of wood to take to the shop and sand off to start fresh.
Yes. Oh, I
Yeah.
totally see that. I totally know that. Oh man.
Ah, okay, Oxpan 12. Where are there good places to find patterns? So Pinterest is a great place. Search pyrography patterns. These ones are free. We're using the free one that Crystal here from Moss Tangle gave us on burnsavvy.com. A couple of free ones right there, but I find some good ones on Pinterest
Yeah.
for patterns.
Yeah, Pinterest is good as long as you're, you know, you're careful about permission to use it because sometimes people don't like that, but um it,
Right.
it,
Well, I think a lot of times it's more the permission
it
of
can,
whether you can share it or
right.
not. You can burn it, but you might not be able to
Right. So if you,
do something with it.
and so all you
So,
really, a lot of times, all you need to do is make sure that you give credit to the person that you get it from if you're going to share it.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, next question. Ooh, can you give me some examples of a stretch? Yes. I'm going to
I'll,
finish this tree.
I'll let Janny show you. I need to catch up.
Oh. All right, I'm putting my burner down for a second. So for me, I get cramping by holding it too tightly. And so one thing you can do is to grip your fist really hard, and you want to make sure that you're engaging all of the muscles on the inside of your fingers. And then you'll want to go the opposite direction and engage the muscles on exactly the opposite. Ignore my overextending fingers. I got loose ligaments and stuff. But you do that and basically go back and forth for a little bit. Hold it for like 10 seconds. If it feels better for 30 seconds, go that long. And then go the other direction and hold it the same amount of time. I also like to pull my fingers towards me and let that underside stretch and pull my fingers all the way down. I don't know if you can see that there. Pull my fingers all the way down, and I will hold those for 20 seconds ish. So that's what I do, and then go back and forth between the two. And that really helps my hands, my fingers. There are lots of different stretches that I do, but there are some examples. I should do a
Yeah,
video
you
on
should. You
stretches.
totally should.
That would be good, then help some people with their with their pain.
And you mentioned
Uh,
something in your when you were talking, you talked about how you grip your pen so tightly. And one of the ways to
hmm
prevent pain is to get comfortable with not really squeezing the pen really hard and trying to, just, I
Yes.
mean, I know sometimes it's impossible. I'm not, but that is part of what makes those muscles so sore and those tendons get inflamed is we're squeezing, and if you're squeezing and your fingertips are
Yes.
white, you're probably squeezing too hard.
Right. Right. Uh, I have definitely loosened up over the
Yeah,
years, but I'm still guilty of
yeah,
holding that sucker good and tight.
yeah,
I'm bad about
yeah,
that. But
yeah.
oh, so I wanted to say real quick about this knot. I've got a beautiful knot right in the middle
I
of my
love
piece,
it.
right?
I love it.
But it, yeah, I love working with the grain. I like hiding it too, like hiding it
Oh
into
yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
incorporating it, I
Yep.
guess is the word.
Yeah, that's fun.
But so I'm just gonna here and then put the reflection down here with some trees.
Oh, that'll
So
be fun.
I uh I don't know if you I don't think you saw the one I did with Happy Camper
Oh,
Casey, her
yes, I
pattern
did.
I burned. She I I traced it on and forgot to account for the knot. And the knot was like right in the middle of her cheek, kind of over her eye. We're gonna try this again.
Yeah,
So it's yeah,
yeah,
it just as far as I'm concerned with the knots, just plan for where you want it to be. I've seen some where they in the landscapes they use it as like the sunshine.
yeah,
And I think that's so creative. Very
yeah. I
fun.
like to incorporate the knot as well. I think that's you know a fun way to make it and to use what you have.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I
But like
agree.
you said, planning, you put your paper down, just kind of think before you put when you put your design on there, like
Right.
where am I going to put this, and just give it a second. Go nice and slow.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of bummed that I'm not seeing the comments. That's too bad.
I know. Oh, it's half the fun. I'm sorry you're not
That's
seeing it.
okay.
It's probably the late at night. I've noticed that my internet, I shouldn't say late, just at
In the
night,
evening, yeah.
um, people are on, yes, and especially since the whole pandemic started, people are online, and so there are times when I'm like, I can't get my internet to work.
Right.
So let's see. Next question: is there smudging to worry about? Sometimes I find that when I wipe the ashes off, sometimes that'll smudge. So I always try to be very careful when I'm wiping off the little carbon bits that fall off of my
Oh yeah. Yeah.
nib. Other than that, I don't know what
I
other
usually don't. If I'm burning,
is there other
if I'm burning something really dark, like there's like some of the trees that I've
yeah.
done, I'll do some really deep texture or using the dots, doing the pointillism. Then I have to be a little more careful about all the
Yes.
little embers that like to come off, um and you just, like you said, you just gently or blow it before you wipe it. Just do a little, use your fan or
Yes.
something to you know so you're not rubbing the black across the, because I've done that and then I have to sand it.
Right? And that's annoying. Oh. And I think that's all the questions. If you guys have more questions, feel free to pop them in the comments and I'll
Yeah,
read them out so Crystal can see the or hear them. Uh,
yeah.
so how long have you been doing workshops, Crystal?
I started a year ago. So last May, I
Oh.
just approached one of the boutiques in our little historic downtown and asked about, because I saw that she held workshops. So it was a place I already knew that was something she did, and she hosted.
Yes.
And so then I started there, and then it just, I'm like, yeah, one workshop, we'll see. And it kind of exploded. So before March, when we went into our full stay-at-home mode, I've done over 50 workshops. I know. Wow. It's like in what? That was like 10 months? No, 9 months. So it was a lot. Yeah, right. It was a lot.
That is a lot. That's awesome,
yeah,
though.
I found.
Oh, I'm seeing some comments. Oh, go ahead. You finish, and then I'll read the
I was just saying, I found out how much I love it, and it's really become kind of more my thing. So, is the teaching
workshop? Yep. Yes, yes. I'm loving how seeing the students and seeing what they come up with.
Oh yeah,
just is so rewarding.
Yes,
so rich, so fun.
It's like and even when they're all working off the same pattern, and you get all this creativity, and it's like so joyful to watch people create things from their own heads, and it just comes out, and it's beautiful, and I just love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Could eat it up all day long. I agree. Raquel says, hi, sorry I'm late. And then she says, I love the diamond angled wood.
Oh, thank you.
It's definitely fun when you can make the wood, the piece itself on an artistic angle. I love it.
Yeah, it's, like I said, I can go to Home Depot and get wood. It's right next to my grocery store. So I just can, go grocery shopping. I can stop and pick up some wood. And so then I don't feel like I'm out, creating problems. And
right.
Yeah, and I just found that poplar is so readily available, and it makes such a nice, smooth surface to work on. But it still has a beautiful grain that you can see. And that's why I really like it.
I think it's fantastic. Sometimes I kind of get deterred though, because sometimes I feel like it looks green.
Oh yeah,
and so I don't want the green ones.
Yeah, you have to pick through
the other stuff.
You do have to pick through to get the ones that aren't green, unless you want green.
That's yeah, right. Unless green is what you're looking for. Okay, next comment. What other materials do you girls burn on? Crystal, you go ahead. What else do you burn on?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so other than wood, I burn on wood mostly. I burn, and I do like, what's that?
You should probably say what kinds of wood.
Yeah, that's what
like, what do you use?
So I use
there you go.
Mostly basswood is, that's kind of the go-to, and also readily available, easy to get your hands on, online.
Yes.
I love aspen, and I fell in love with that. Yeah, last Christmas I ordered a bunch of aspen rounds from Aspen Rustic Creations, and I was like, whoa, wait a second, where have you been all my life?
Yeah.
So that was
exactly.
Yeah, so that was pretty that was really great to discover aspen. And I love birch, but my favorite wood of all to burn on is cherry. And it's because it's so, well, it has a gorgeous smell when you burn it, but you can sand it, and it's like glass. It's like the smoothest surface, at least the cherry I've been exposed to. So and I just love it. It makes such a beautiful, and it's red, it's got that red tint, and it's just so pretty. So
yes, I agree. Cherry is fabulous.
How about you, Jamie?
Cherry is fabulous. Well, very similar in the sense that I do a lot of basswood. My favorite though recently is willow.
Oh, I haven't burned on willow yet.
You got to try
Okay.
willow. It's poplar is actually in the willow
Right.
family. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
Yeah.
So it's I love the whiter look. It's kind of a white
Oh, yeah.
canvas to
Yeah.
work with. It's lighter colored even than basswood, and I just,
Uh,
but it's just as yummy as basswood. I feel like it's very smooth, very
Right.
very enjoyable, satisfying to burn. So um, there are lots of others though. I mean, walnut is good. The black walnut kind of hides it, I feel
Yeah.
like. So I don't like that, but it's also really smooth to burn on.
Um,
Maple is really nice.
yeah.
So I like those. I also like to burn on bone, but you have to get it like crazy hot to burn on
Oh,
bone.
yeah.
And then it smells bad.
I imagine.
It's just like burning hair. It really is stinky, but
Yeah.
I love it. It looks cool in the end, so I pay the price.
So other than wood, what are some things that you've burned on?
So there's bone and canvas drop
Oh,
cloth.
yeah.
Um, that one's really fun. Cork is it's technically a wood, but people don't think about it.
Yeah.
Um, and there's gosh, there's lots of things, and I can't think right off the bat.
Have you
Paper.
burned on leather?
Yes, I burned on leather. It stinks
Oh, yeah.
like
Yep.
bone.
It's stinky.
Have you burned leather then too?
Yeah.
There are lots of fun things. If it burns, I want to
I
try
know.
it, you
Me
know.
too. Me too. I've tried burning on, I've done watercolor paper, which fits really well with my love of
Hmm.
watercolors. So, you know,
Yeah, those have been
so,
fabulous. Loved those. That was
so I love that. But yeah, I don't do a lot that's not wood because I just don't have it. You know, if it was sitting here in my house as something that, you know,
right. Yeah, yeah. What are you gonna burn
yeah,
on? Yep.
at least that's how I started.
Well, and the
As
go
that's
ahead.
just how I started, you know, when I was new, I was just trying things that were available.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've got some canvas drop cloth in my sewing stuff, and so that's
Yeah.
I wanted to try it. I heard you could burn on cotton, and I thought, really? And I looked in my canvas drop cloth. It's like it's a painter's drop
Yeah.
cloth is scent cotton, and I was like, oh, we're gonna burn. So that was that was fun.
I'll have to try that. I haven't. And I have cloth.
You can also get you can get canvas totes from like the craft section at Walmart even, you know, they're
Oh, yeah.
everywhere. You can get those and burn on a tote. The only thing is trying to get it to hold still so you can actually burn it without burning big old blobs.
Oh, what about like a
That's the
embroidery hoop or something? Would that make it easier?
yes, yeah. That's actually exactly what I
Oh,
did.
fun.
It was an embroidery.
That's fun.
Yeah, you're spot on. It worked. So if somebody wants to try that, go for it.
So are you going to add color to this piece, or are you just going to go with the straight wood?
Gosh, I don't think I've added color to any of these pieces.
I know.
I don't know. I feel like in the end, I gotta look at it after the fact and see what I really,
Right.
you know, see is
Right.
fun. Do I
And do
like
you like
it?
it? Do you want to add, is
So,
color
what?
something you want to do after you've looked at it?
Yeah, yeah. So, what about you?
Oh,
Are you gonna
yeah.
do color?
It's kind of my thing, so it's
Oh,
I'm gonna add color for sure. I'm just debating if I'm gonna add it just to the sky or if I'm also gonna do the water, just because I feel like the water has some good interest, you know, potential color interest.
absolutely. I love that. I think that's cool. I love color. It's one of those things I'm still trying to really get my whole, I'm trying to get it to where I love it
Yeah.
on my, when I do it. I
Yeah.
love when other people do it. And I'm like, oh, and I'm so inspired when I do it. I'm like, I'm 2 years old again. Thanks. You know, like
Yeah.
I didn't, but anyway. Oh, she's telling me to refocus. Can you see my screen there, Crystal?
I can see yours, but it does seem a little bit
Okay.
pixelated almost. Like maybe your signal is not the
Uh,
best.
yeah, that's probably because everybody's
Everybody's
getting
on.
on to use the internet.
Yeah. Probably.
So if I just tell them it's a turn and they can't have a turn, maybe it'll clear up.
Okay, guys,
Oh,
everybody off
bye
the
guys.
internet. We're trying to do a live burn here. So,
That's right. We're busy. I don't know what you're doing, but get off. Okay, we got a bunch more
awesome.
comments here. Let's see here. Oh, completely devoted designs. Raquel, she says, I love color.
Yeah.
Ivy Pyrography. I started mine with color.
Oh, I
Awesome.
can't wait.
Well, except are you burning color? Don't burn over the color. um, that might be a good tip to throw out here too, safety wise.
Yeah.
If you have color that you're going to add it after the fact so that you're not making toxic fumes for yourself.
Right.
If you're going to do stain, do that after the fact, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. All of it goes after the, let's see here. I saw, this is completely devoted designs. I saw it in the Pyrography magazine community. There were quite a few people who had the nerve to say color ruins the wood burning.
Whatever. I mean,
No, art is art,
yeah. I
people.
mean, there's a lot of purists out there. There's a lot of, really just very experienced, very amazing pyrographers. And a lot of them will,
Yeah.
they hold to some really, hard and fast rules that they know produce really good art. And and they do
Yes.
produce really good art. But like you said, art is art. And I think it's awesome that when we can say, well, it's okay if you have like texture and deep, black burns, and
Mm-hmm.
because that makes it accessible to everyone and not just, it's a
I
lot
totally.
less intimidating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have said for ages that I love to pet my wood,
Oh,
and it's
yes.
because I love the texture. And I know there are a lot of traditionalists who are traditional pyrography
Mm-hmm.
artists, and in traditional art, that was considered an amateur thing. But I love the texture.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it's only if you don't know how to use it,
Right.
but feel free to use it,
Yeah.
So
Well, I tell you,
that's what I think.
yeah, I think it's true.
Let's see. Okay, Just Burnett says, what is your favorite color medium?
Watercolor by far.
I think you
Yeah.
were.
I,
Uh,
but that's what I'm used to. So before I was wood burning, I wasn't like a watercolor colorist, but that was like my favorite medium on paper. And so,
oh.
I had lots of watercolors. And so when it was time for me to
Mm-hmm.
experiment with color, I went with what I had in my house, which was watercolors. And so I think that's how I came to love watercolor, um, the most. So,
Mm-hmm. Well, and watercolor, it doesn't work the same as it does on
oh,
paper on wood.
no,
The wood swallows subtle
I
colors,
know. But it's surprisingly, the colors are surprisingly intense. So I always thought
Yes.
when I first started
Yes.
using it, my thought was it's going to fade. It's not going to be as vibrant. And when I did my first like paint the sky like 2 years ago, uh, right after I first learned to
Mm-hmm.
burn, I was just shocked. I was like, whoa, look how bright those colors are. And so, yeah.
Yes. I totally agree. I think watercolor's my favorite
Yeah.
too. I've done acrylic. and I've done the colored pencils and
Yeah.
stuff. Um, but in the end, the watercolors have been my
Yeah.
favorite. So I'm with you there. Let's see here, 74 Sholden. I've painted on wood, so I'm excited to incorporate the burning techniques.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Oh, and she says no, she definitely not. That would smell horrible. I think she's talking about burning over her paint.
Yeah. So occasionally
So
when I paint after I always paint after I burn, and occasionally I will get paint in the burn. And so that will, like,
yeah,
watercolors, not such a big deal because it just comes right off. But sometimes I'll use
yeah,
gouache and it gets into my texture. And I will occasionally come in with my burner and just touch those spots just to get rid of them. But I'm really careful. I have my fan and,
right. Well,
well ventilated
yeah.
space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, completely devoted design says I love watercolors.
Yeah.
That's what she
Yeah.
says.
Wow, your mountains are
It's really a fun.
gorgeous. Jenny, they're beautiful.
Thank you. Well, and yours is turning out really fun. I love it.
Thanks.
I,
Thank you.
I think your style is so cool. It's got a lot of contrast to
Yeah.
it, you know? I think really, really cool.
Thanks.
Oh, Raquel, she's working with watercolor right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Oh, and a hello from Tender Siller. I hope I'm not butchering all of these usernames.
Yeah.
Sorry if I
I
am.
don't think it matters too much.
Completely different lines. That looks amazing on that basswood. Thank
Yeah, it looks
you.
really pretty.
Thank you. Coming along. Let's see here. Now we've got more. Ire Celerize. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I know I did. Celerize. What brand of watercolors do you use?
Oh, good question. I use all
Yeah.
kinds. Uh,
I have Arteza is what I have.
yeah,
And so that's what I use.
yeah. I have the I got I have Kuretake. Is that how you say that? I don't know. That's a brand.
I
They make
know.
pans, watercolor pans. And then I
Mm-hmm.
also use my more, like my professional colors, like the Winsor and Newton, Daniel Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but
I want to get my hands on some of those.
yeah. Yeah. Well, good luck getting your hands on anything by Daniel Smith right now. Yeah, it's
Really?
really hard to find.
Mm,
So,
I
yeah, I know.
disapprove.
Me too. Me too. So,
But can I please have it? Okay, another comment. Let's see. Yeah, I like to use acrylic and I'm super clumsy, so I'll definitely get it in the burn if I don't paint first. That's Ivy
oh,
Pyrography saying that.
yes. Okay,
Oh,
that
that's
makes sense.
it does. And when I did acrylics, that was part of my big frustration was just get out of my burn. And so I would paint on it, but then I'd right away have to go in with water and wash it out and then I had a napkin. That's what I was looking for. I had a napkin that I just kept right there with me. And I'd wipe that out and wipe it off as best I could.
Yeah.
Didn't always work.
Yeah.
So with that, I had to do your trick, Crystal, where it was like, okay, turn on the fan, get your mask on, open the windows, and we're going to just touch in those spots.
Right. Yeah. And it's such a small
So,
amount of exposure, of toxins. It's never good
yeah,
to expose yourself to toxins, but it's really minimal when you're just touching those spots. You're not doing like whole sections of wood or whatever.
right. Well, and if you think about it, I mean, how many of us drive our cars and those have
Yeah.
all the
There you
toxins,
go.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, no, can't totally protect yourself, but where you can protect yourself, you should.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
That's right.
This is such a fun pattern to learn,
Thank
Crystal.
you.
Thank you for making
Oh,
this for
thank you. This is so fun.
me. It is. It is. I'm loving burning the same stuff with other people. Just
It
fun.
is. What a good idea. I'm glad you did it. It is such perfect timing for, because it's more than just something to do. It's things to do with
Right.
people, you know.
Yes. Yes. I feel like that was not half the reason. That was a big fat reason why I wanted to do this was the interaction. I wanted people to get to work with people, to talk with
Yeah,
people. So that's another reason why I'm like, comments, what you got to say,
right.
you know. Let's have so all right, I'm gonna do these. I'm gonna add a little mountain oh, what do you call it? Reflection, I guess
Oh,
you would
that's a good
say.
idea.
I do want to sketch it in a little. Let's
So
see.
that's actually a
What am I
good tip
doing?
that I do teach people is before committing to something you're going to add, to sketch it on there with some pencil and get an idea of what you think it might look like.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is a great tip. I love that. I love that. I'm going to turn this down. Oh, another question. How long do you guys take a rest? Every 20 minutes stop or stop after sketch is done? Um, for me, I probably shouldn't go this long, but I go for like an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'll stop and take a rest. But
Yeah, I
um,
actually set a timer for 50 minutes so that it's not a full hour. And it gives me that.
oh, you're so good.
And I stop. I mean, sometimes I'll go over. It's part of why I set it for 50, because if I'm right in the middle of something, then I can like fudge it for a minute or two while I finish up, a little spot that I really wanted to work
Brilliant.
on or whatever. So, yeah.
Mm,
But I usually don't,
you can finish that. I
yeah.
love that.
I usually don't work more than an hour.
Usually don't what?
Work more than an hour on straight
Yeah.
burning.
Yeah. It's not particularly friendly on the hand.
No. I think that,
All right, the
oh, go
next
ahead.
question.
Is it,
Oh,
oh
go
no,
ahead.
the next question. What is it?
Next question is, are you both in Washington State? We are in North Carolina. I am not in Washington State. I am actually in Arizona, in the mountains of Arizona,
Oh,
where it's a little cooler.
nice.
But I did used to live actually in Spokane, Washington.
Okay, so you're Pacific
So
Northwest, Pacific Northwest a little bit, at least Eastern.
yeah, it's gorgeous. We did a road trip up through that area, and um, it was gorgeous. But I also have lived in North Carolina,
Oh,
so it's
fun.
funny that North Carolina, you're in Washington, and I've been there. I lived in North Carolina for like, gosh, almost a year, and in Washington State for two years.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Both of them gorgeous, gorgeous places.
Yeah, I've just been visited North Carolina when I was hiking the Appalachian Trail. So, and we just did pieces of it. We didn't do the whole trail. I lived in Maryland and we would go do some, trips, weekend or even several day trips on the, what do they call it? Section hiking. Of course, I didn't hike all of it that way either.
Oh, ah, that's on my bucket list. I
Yeah.
totally want to do that. Okay, I feel like this is from Just Burn It. I feel like this may have been talked about, so I apologize if that's the case, but can you direct me to some good wood burning workshops? So much to learn, but where to start? That is a
Good
great
question.
question. Something that you'll want to look at, I think, locally and see if you can find stuff that's close to you. How did you said that you saw or you contacted
A
a
local
cafe, right?
boutique, actually. Yeah.
Boutique
Yeah.
that did those and you knew that they were doing those? How did you know they were
Well,
doing
she
those?
had like, well, I went in, you know, it's my local town, so I'm in there shopping, and would see signs for like lettering workshops and sign painting workshops, and I'm like, wood burning workshops. So that's how that
Right.
started. And then I just seek people out. I've had a few people contact me and say, hey, let's do a workshop. If you know, would you do a workshop at our place or whatever? But so
Cool.
cafes, a lot of times cafes will do them though, because they'll have some space. Wineries, breweries, but one of the places that people found my workshops, I was always surprised. Like people from Seattle would drive out here to Snohomish, and they just found them by
Wow.
doing a search on Eventbrite, because that's where I sell my tickets, is on Eventbrite. And
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and people, if you just do a search in play, you know, like whatever of the local, I mean, we use Eventbrite. If there's like another app that people use for selling tickets, you can search those for wood
Hmm.
burning, and you know, you're bound to find something.
That is a great, great tip. I love that. I'm pretty much the only show in town. We've got such a tiny, small town, and they've got um, the art studio there. I just contacted them because they were doing um, paint shops, paint workshops, and stuff like that. So I contacted them and said, "Are you interested?" And they said, "Yes, please." So
Yeah.
that's where that started. Oh, and our time is
Oh
almost
man.
up.
Man,
Crystal,
that was
tell us
fast.
where you can find. I know, I know, it goes too fast. Where can we find
Okay.
you? Like what? Like you have a website,
Yeah.
right? And stuff like
So
that.
I am on Instagram mostly. And I have a website. It's currently, it was working great, and I'm I messed it up. So it's currently under
Oh
construction.
no.
It's okay. It's currently under construction. I am learning so much. I am amazed at what I've had to learn and been able to learn. So yeah, it's going. It's just under construction, so some of the links aren't working, but we're getting there. So yeah, mosstangle.com is where I have my website. And when I have workshops, that's where I post them also, you know, links to to sign up. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining me, and thank you so much for the. I love
Thank
it,
you.
and I'm excited to see everybody's
Yes.
take on this. Everybody, make sure you go and first of all, say hi to Crystal. Thank you for that. And then tag us, tag me, tag her, and use the hashtag Get Burn Savvy so we can all see your artwork because it's so fun.
Yes. I can't wait
I
to
love the
see
show and
what
tell.
everybody has done with this. That is my favorite thing.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks.
See. Oh, yours is looking so good. Oh, and we have someone saying thanks. They'll use the timer
Oh,
solutions.
yes.
It's a great thing. Oh, but I'm gonna keep burning until it actually kicks me off,
Yeah,
and then I'll just
yeah,
finish.
that's what I'm doing too. Same thing. Because
Yeah,
it's about an hour.
it's too
Yeah.
fun, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is great. We're having a bunch of thank yous. Just Burnett,
Oh,
74 Sheldon,
thank
Ryder Karen
you.
S. Thank you.
Thank,
You're welcome, guys. We're so happy that you join
yeah,
us. Like
thank
that's
you.